Hey friend, welcome to the Karlie and Brooke channel. My name is Brooke Clance, and I'm going to talk about theme. And I'm going to talk about it in relation to a book that I recently released called Empire of Glass and Stone. And Empire of Glass and Stone was written with the theme of unity and comparison in mind. And I really wanted to convey to a YA audience the dangers of comparison and why we need unity. Because honestly, let's be honest, especially in the last couple of years, we need more unity in the world. So when I wrote Empire of Glass and Stone, I wrote Yakwa with the flaw of comparing herself to other people. She's constantly comparing herself to her family, to the people around her. She's trying to fit into her clan, trying to feel like she's good enough to be part of her family. And she's trying to overcome, the things that have happened in the past that have she feels like given her a negative perception or a negative look to the rest of the clan. And this was something that I struggled with as a kid. When I was growing up, I had a lot of social anxiety, and it's something that I wish that if I could go back in time and tell myself one thing, I wish that I could tell myself to reach out to other people. Instead of sitting there and being like, why isn't anyone talking to me? And having this, victim mindset, if I had just reached out to other people and made friends, and, somebody told me once, everyone wants a friend, right? And I think that's mostly true. And when I was a kid, I was just sitting there thinking like, why aren't my friends calling me? Why doesn't anyone come sit by me at lunch? When I should have been the one to get up and find people who maybe needed a friend and sit by them and eat lunch with them, rather than sitting around waiting for everyone to sit by me. Because let's be honest, nobody is. If everyone's sitting around waiting for other people to come sit by them, nobody's going to sit by anybody. So if I go back and tell myself one thing, that's one thing that I wish that I could tell myself. And that was a hard lesson that I had to learn. To move from an internal mindset, like what's wrong with me, why does everyone hate me, not that I really thought that everyone hated me, but why, like thinking that everyone is thinking about you, right? Because nobody does. I mean, you're gonna finish this video and Brooke is out of your thoughts. So moving from everyone is sitting here criticizing me, nobody likes me, to how can I help other people? How can I be the person that makes somebody else feel included? And it made me a much happier person when I moved to that mindset. And that was a mindset that I wanted to bring again to a YA audience. So when I got a job in software engineering, one mistake that I made was I didn't do a whole lot to teach other people until later on in my career. And there were several opportunities that I missed out on where I could have reached out to other people, and I was so focused on my own career development that I wasn't spreading my knowledge. And when I finally made that leap to spread knowledge to other people, it made my career a lot more fulfilling. And I made a lot more friends that will stick with me for life. And this was something that I wanted Yakwa to bring into her character arc, her progression, right? So at the very beginning, she starts, why does everyone hate me? How do I prove myself? She gets a little bit better as she's starting to realize like there are bigger problems than just me, and then she gets thrown into a competition where the stakes are high, and if she isn't better than everyone else, then she's going to die, and her character or her kingdom could suffer from the consequences of that. And so she gets worse. So she goes from Yakwa comparison to a little bit better to worse. And I wanted to show how that comparison can really hurt a person and how it can really hurt other people too. Even though Yakwa never thinks that she's being selfish, she is, because she's focused so much on herself that she's not focusing on anyone else. And that leads to her acting selfishly. And that was something that was important to my theme. So I incorporated little bits of that in every scene. In every scene, that's part of Yakwa's character, but it's also something that I wanted to pull into every scene. And with theme, you have to be really careful, because if you make it too obvious or too much in the reader's face, they're gonna feel like you're shoving ideas down their throats, and they're not gonna really like that. But if you can tweak scenes, make every scene touch on that theme just a little bit, you make each theme a little bit, or each scene a little bit more meaningful. So in every scene, there is something that happens in that scene that either makes Yakoa think a little bit differently about comparison and about, you know, helping other people, or even if that means going backwards and, you know, going back to the way she used to be, or getting worse. So Yakoa gets thrown into this contest and she gets worse, and then something happens that really just, you know, hits her in the face, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I did not mean for this to happen. And it forces her into a new way of thought. And at the end, she kind of realizes that instead of comparison, maybe I should push more towards helping other people, like helping uplift other people, and looking at the people around me as people that can help me, people that I can help, and looking at everything as more like unified. I wanted Yakoa to take a step back, think about everything that she has learned, think about her approach one way and her approach another way, and what does that lead her to? What is the end result? What does she want to come away with? And that is going to be the theme of the book. And she can't, in this world, she can't be the same Yakoa that she was before. And it makes the book a lot stronger when you have something that you're trying to say, and there's something in each scene that has meaning. And that's really what theme does, is it gives your book meaning, so that at the end of the day, when your reader is finished with the book and puts it down, it's going to make them a lot more likely to come back and reread it later, or to recommend it. It's when they finish that book and they feel something. And that was something that was what I really wanted to have the reader come away with at the end of Empire in Glass and Stone, to have a different perception of the dangers of comparison, and how unity and unifying with the people around us, especially women, helping and uplifting other women, could help the world and help Yakoa, especially individually as a person, you know, be happier and be less like you're more likely to make friends if you're reaching out to other people than if you're sitting there wondering why nobody's reaching out to you. So when you write your book, really think about what you're trying to say and how you can make an impact. And it will make your ending scene especially so much stronger. It'll make your character more lovable. It'll make people want to come back and reread it or carry it with them. And you also have to remember that not every theme is for everyone. My book especially was written for a young adult audience. And so for some people, the theme might not hit for them as well. I've had some people read my book that were like, oh, I really understood what you were trying to say. And then I had other people that just didn't get it and struggled with Yakoa as a character, and that's fine. That means that my book wasn't for them. So when you are writing about theme, really think about what you want to say, what impact you want to have, and incorporate that into your book. Incorporate it into every scene. And if you're not really sure how to put, because I mean, you want to come up with a cool plot, right? If you're not really sure how your theme applies to a particular scene, bounce some ideas off of your writer friends and off of your beta readers and say, hey, like, is there anything that I can do to pull this theme into this particular scene? Or maybe even think about, does the scene need to be there? Is your scene actually building your character, or is it just thrown in to be a scene? You need to make sure that your scenes are touching on your theme and influencing your character somehow, and have some type of conflict and some type of emotion. And is that carrying through my book to the end, to the last page, in every scene? And with theme, you can actually build it into multiple characters. So you can have characters that maybe have different views of that theme, different approaches. So if you look at like Frozen, Kristoff doesn't think that he can be loved. You have Anna. Anna thinks love is easy. And then, you know, you have different approaches to love, and at the end, love can defeat anything. Love is the most important thing of all. So you have this theme that's recurring throughout Frozen, and each character views it differently and has their own path where they have to learn about love. And at the end, you have this, you know, satisfying ending, because they all come to this conclusion about love, that it's important, that it's something everyone deserves. And that's what makes Frozen strong. It's what makes people come back and return to it. It brings that emotion And emotion is really what you're writing about. When you write a book, you are writing to invoke emotion. And if your scenes are not invoking emotion, the chances are your readers are not going to be interested in it. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you have learned something about theme today. If you would like more videos on theme, please leave a comment. We love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. We love to hear from you. And stay tuned for our next video. Thanks for watching.